JB here, JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. December 12th, 9 a.m. on this fine Thursday. Talk really quick about the market, some names I'm looking at. Go from there, take a look at the S&P. S&P futures market, most NASDAQ, all down just slightly in the red. Well, slightly in the red. Yes, minis are down a quarter of a percent, giving up some of the gains from yesterday, at least in the pre-market. Uh, this morning we had PPI data and a tad hotter than expectations. I don't think that does too much. We had CPI data yesterday, pretty flat as a pancake. I think that just bodes well. You know, I was saying it on yesterday's rant. It's like the inflation story that was rampant for the last year and a half. It's like we still talk about. I think it's going to eventually start to take a back burner to some other things. And who knows what we're going to move to next, whether it be the tariffs, the U.S. debt, whatever yields, whatever it's going to be. There's going to be some kind of narrative that comes out that will get away from this inflation story. I mean, at least I hope. Who knows? Maybe inflation story is not over. Needless to say, right now the market is implying or giving a probability of a 97% chance that the Fed cuts rates a quarter percent on Wednesday. So outside that, it's tough to see what would move the markets too much. Also, so take a look, and I love historicals. And this is Ryan Dietrich on Twitter, well, X, the Santa rally, right? So you take a look at the historicals for market rallies, and December is historically one of the better or best performing months of the year. The end of the month, it's pretty much starting in the next couple days is when the outperformance happens. So I don't know if history will repeat itself, but this is from 1950. So you have 73 years of historicals, and on average, that's a pretty good track record, right? So if you're a betting person, you would bet that, hey, the market's probably starting from December 15th is going to be higher before the year's out. And then you'll have all these the narrative, right? The Santa Claus rally, the tax law selling, the rebalancing, reallocating. There'll be all these buzzwords that come out over the next couple weeks into the end of the year. So for me, just want to see six. I think it's 608.48 and 608.49. We hit that yesterday, and I think a couple of days ago. So that's the big spot on the upside if we get a bid here, and then the reversal 604.50. I was talking about getting hedge puts if it breaks under 600 on a SPY. I'll probably continue to wait for that to happen, but certainly open if there is weakness today. Maybe some spec hedge puts into tomorrow if we break under 604.50. I would not give it a high probability that happens, but you never know. All right, so that's overall markets. The yields were up just a tad yesterday, and the VIX was down 4% yesterday. So all good things. So individual names. So it was one of those days I kind of sat on my hands, and then I put on the watch list. I was going to add Square, and I've been talking about adding more Square calls on a break over 100. Considering its chop and consolidation, I lowered that to 98, and then sure enough, was it due into the end of the day around 2 o'clock? It breaks into the 98s. I went and got some more strikes into next week. It's lower here in the pre-market down at 96.73. Still like this for a move into the hundreds, and then some FOMO. Hopefully that happens today or tomorrow, and then into next week. And then I think there'll be some FOMO over 110. That's just my thought here. Again, I think this is one of the plays that still hasn't been fully valued for the crypto craze, right? What's going on in the crypto space and the rise in Bitcoin. So, and then it has other levers, right? It has obviously its core business. So really like Square here. It does have the upper Bollinger Band is up at 134, so that could be the next spot. But I think once it gets over 100, close over that, I think it's off to the races. So that's Square. ROKU, another one of those days, all the way up to near 85 before pulling back, still closing in the green. I thought at the end of last week that it was going to break over 190 into this sometime this week. Not the case so far. I mean, it's going to need some kind of catalyst, whether an analyst upgrade or more speculation of M&A, but still like this one into this year, into the end of the year, and then into next year. I think it's going to be over $90. That's ROKU, that's Square. Hang on a second, folks. JOBY, not much to add here on JOBY either. 300 million shelf offering after the close Tuesday. Thought maybe the stock would get it by the dip. That didn't happen. Has a high short interest, so sellers take advantage. Use the negative, what's construed as a negative news. JOBY's a cash story, right? So it's going to have to raise more cash in order to fully execute its business model. So this is like not unexpected, and it's a shelf offering. It's not like tomorrow. Well, that we were going to get the actual 300 million offering in the price. It's going to happen at some point. It just just kind of breaks the seal, in my opinion. So I think that's a good thing to do. You let the market know, hey, we're going to be raising capital. You don't hide behind the specter of Maisie and then surprise investors. come out and say it. I think it's a good thing. Thankfully, I locked the rest of my 750s in. I'll look for more strikes, the Aprils. I continue to look for April strikes. I'll wait for the $8 handle to hold. Real like this story into 2025. Clear, secure, tick tock. At some point, it's going to break to the upside. First red session in 3 days for clear, and most of that happened at the end of the day. It was trading in the green for almost the entire session until about 3:30. At some point, it's going to break out, and once it does, it's going to be a big move, 10-15% in a short period of time. I'm waiting for 28 to hold, and then I'll look to get some more strikes there. Same with you. Premiums are still elevated, right? It's 20% implied move on the January strikes. That's insane. So to me, that risk reward just doesn't jive for me to add strikes. I already made some nice coin on you, so no sense to rush back in. I'll be patient. I still think it's heading over $30 into 2025. Baidu's been disappointing. Was hoping for some China boost overnight. That didn't happen. I mean, Asian markets were in the green. Festering around here. It's still the 50-day moving average right there at 91 and change. Maybe it gets a bid here. Maybe over the weekend we get something and puts a spark back in the China ADR stock. So still hopeful on Baidu. Solar Edge, similar to Clear Secure, tick tock, right? One of these days it's going to explode. In my opinion, it's either in the midst of just bouncing a short-term bounce before new lows, or it's the start of a multi-day, even multi-week squeeze. Take a look at that 16 area. That's the 50-day moving average. It reversed morning lows yesterday. It was in the 13s, bounced into the close, and there was the positive tariff news, or at least in regards to possible raising the tariffs on China solar wafers by 50%. I don't know what read through that does for Solar Edge. It just typically raises the entire solar sector. So at some point, it's going to break and squeeze. If it gets over 16, I'll look for more strikes to play for moving to the 20s. Peloton tried to break over $10 yesterday, was holding there for a little bit, and then just found some pressure at the end of the day. Still closed up 3%. Still like this one. One of these days, it's going to break and run. Still holding the January strikes. And then three other names. So Lemonade, almost time to get back in. I put it on the watch list this morning. Not the best bull flag artist here, but you have the large outside is moved, then you have consolidation, and then you have the next leg. And you start doing the math, and typically the mast of the flag, you divide it by half, and that's the next move. So you're talking another $17. I could see it trading up near $60 in the coming weeks. It just needs a spark. So I'll be patient there. But once it takes off, maybe if it breaks 44 today, I'll look to get get back into calls for move and squeeze over 60. Lemonade, still eyeing TravelZoo and TripAdvisor. I keep saying it over and over, and hopefully I don't miss it. But one of these days, there'll be some news or catalyst on TripAdvisor. It's going to take off. And you look at the action, the volume is like anemic. It hasn't traded this low volume in quite some time. It's almost like it's off the radar. Like I said, the company came on their earnings call and said, hey, we didn't buy back stock this previous quarter because we're in the midst of some strategic things we can't talk about, right? And there was already buyout conversation in the spring. I think it's just a matter of time. And it was $28 back in the spring on that buyout M&A news. So you tell me it's a 50% haircut? Like that's the valuation? The market was someone in the market thought it was valued over $28. So I just think there's an opportunity there to get in while it's cold, right? While the premiums are low, it's not moving much, and then just hold on for the eventual catalyst. And that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back on audio later. Rock and roll.